Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're getting into something I think we've all felt. We're talking about giving media a second chance. You know, those movies, shows, and yeah, even games we just wrote off, only to stumble back to them years later and find something totally different.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Have you ever been so sure something just wasn't for you? You walk out, you turn it off, you put down the controller and think, yeah, hard pass. But then, down the line, you hear people buzzing about it, and that little voice in the back of your head starts to wonder, wait, did I get that wrong? Did I miss something?
So let's dive into this. A while back, I kind of made this resolution for myself that totally changed how I approach all this stuff. It's a really simple idea, a little guideline I came up with for finding those hidden gems I might have passed on. I just call it the 10-year rule.
Okay, so how does this rule actually work? It's super simple. First, the thing, the movie, the show, whatever, it's got to be at least a decade old. Second, you either completely missed it the first time around, or it's been a solid 10+ years since you've seen it. But the third part, that's the real magic. It's all about recognizing that you're not the same person you were 10 years ago. Your life, your experiences, everything you've watched and done since then, it all reshapes your point of view.
All right, let me show you what I mean with my first case study. This is a film I wrote off for, well, probably the dumbest reason you can imagine. The movie is a 2014 sci-fi thriller called Predestination.
So the story behind this is honestly a little embarrassing. I missed it in theaters back in 2014. A year later, I rented it on iTunes for a long flight. Sounded like a perfect plan, except I fell asleep halfway through the movie. And if you've ever rented from iTunes, you know that 48-hour clock starts ticking the second you hit play. By the time I landed and got busy with life, poof, the rental was gone. For almost a decade, I just told myself, must have been a boring movie. Then, this year I figured, okay, let's give it that second chance.
And wow, what a difference. Turns out the movie wasn't boring in the slightest. I was just really tired. My entire opinion for 9 years was based on nothing more than me needing a good nap on a plane.
Watching it now, I was absolutely hooked. It's this brilliant, mind-bending time travel story. If you're a fan of that German series Dark, you would love this. It felt like my brain, after all these years of watching other complex stories, was finally ready for it. It was a movie that was way ahead of its time, and I guess I just needed some time to catch up.
Okay, but what about when you dismiss something for a really, really good reason? My next example is a lot more complicated. It's not about a movie I slept through, it's about a show I adored that completely shattered my heart. Yeah, let's talk about the Dexter dilemma.
I'm not even kidding when I say this. My relationship with this show is toxic. Like a full-on, can't quit you, roller coaster of love, betrayal, and just getting sucked right back in when I know I shouldn't.
Look, for 8 seasons, we were there for Dexter. Some were incredible, some not so much, but we stuck it out. And then came the finale. For years, that finale was legendary for being one of the worst in TV history. We were just crushed. Then, years later, they announced a revival, Dexter New Blood. They promised they'd fix it, make it right, and we fell for it. We came back, and somehow, they made it even worse. It was like being betrayed all over again, but deeper.
So after getting burned not once, but twice, you'd think I'd be done for good, right? Nope. Of course not. Because now, there's a prequel in the works. It's going to show us his origin story. And even though every part of me is screaming, don't do it, walk away, that curiosity is just eating me alive. The toxic cycle is gearing up for another go.
And if you want to know just how bad this addiction is, with that last revival, I told myself, okay, 15 minutes, that's it. If I sense any funny business, I'm out. The result? I sat there and binged the first 2 episodes in a row, phone down, totally glued to the screen. That's the pull these characters have on you. You just want to believe again. And that's why I'm so terrified for this prequel. I'm not sure my heart can take a third strike.
All right, let's switch gears a bit, from just watching to playing. Because this whole second chance thing isn't just for TV and movies. It might be even more true for video games, where our whole idea of what's good can completely change as we get older.
Back when I was younger, I thought I had it all figured out. A good game had to be a serious game. I was all in on the gritty, realistic stuff, the big, complex stories, like Resident Evil or Metal Gear Solid.
If it didn't look like that, I just figured it was for kids.
And that brings me to The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. I remember when it came out on GameCube. I saw that cartoony, cel-shaded art style and I just rolled my eyes. Childish, goofy. I thought this version of Link looked like a total dork. To me, it was a coloring book, not a real game for a serious gamer like myself. I didn't even give it a chance.
But now, playing it today, decades later, my perspective has done a complete 180. That art style I dismissed as childish, I see it now for exactly what it is. Timeless. It's an absolute classic that's aged a million times better than those so-called realistic games from that era, which just look kind of old now.
So what was the big change? Well, I changed. I'm a dad now. And I see that this art style is amazing for sharing my love of Zelda with my kids in a way I just can't with those clunky old serious games. It's something we can bond over. And I've learned that what really makes a game great, what makes it last, is incredible gameplay. Not just fancy graphics. My younger self was chasing trends. My older self gets to appreciate true artistry.
So as we wrap all this up, the real point here isn't just about movies you forgot about or shows with bad endings. It's bigger than that. It's about us. It's about how powerful it is to get a whole new perspective on things.
Honestly, giving something a second look after 10 years, it's like holding up a mirror. It doesn't just show you the art differently, it shows you how much you've grown, how your tastes have changed, how your understanding of art and the world has gotten deeper. It's kind of like a celebration of your own personal journey.
So I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. Look back over the last decade or so. What's that movie, that show, that game you completely wrote off? What's out there just waiting for the new, more experienced version of you to finally give it a fair shot? What deserves your second chance? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer. I'll catch you on the next one.